This anime is about an ordinary kid living in a society where everyone has superpowers, yet he still manages to become a superhero who protects others. Welcome to Hero Academy. One day, 80% of the world's population suddenly developed superpowers. And just like you'd expect, criminals became even more unhinged, so heroes started showing up too. Death Arm, his power is being strong. Firefighter Guy, his power is, well, firefighting. Woodman, superpower, photosynthesis. The three of them are teaming up to protect civilians and take down a villain, a white rapper, who hasn't even dropped a single battle track before getting his mic stolen by a female hero whose power is getting big. But here comes the real main character, Midoriya, or Deku, a boy who loves heroes but was born without the superpower attachment pack. His whole class laughs at him for wanting to apply to UA, the hero training school. The kid who bullies him, Bakugo, is also applying to UA, even though this dude looks more like a villain than the actual villains in the show. But never mind that, Midoriya is determined to become a hero and follow in the footsteps of his idol, the #1 hero on the server. Symbol of hope for the entire population. One day, Midoriya actually meets his idol when the guy saves him from a slime villain and prevents him from getting boiled alive like a pot of tongue soup. He asks his idol, "Can I become a hero, even without a power?" But to Midoriya's shock, the guy suddenly shrivels up and looks like someone who hasn't slept in 17 years. The reason? A wound he got long ago messed up his insides and limits how long he can stay in hero form. While explaining, he accidentally drops the bottle containing the slime villain, and boom, the monster escapes, wreaks havoc across the city, and even captures Bakugo. The nearby heroes are basically useless. And in a moment that surprised everyone, except me, Deku runs straight in to save the kid who's been bullying him for years. Seeing a powerless kid charge into danger, All Might's hero instinct kicks in and he forces himself to power up and save both of them. And of course, it only takes one punch. On the way home, All Might comes to thank Deku for inspiring him. "I see the makings of a true hero in you, so, do you want this power?" Being rescued twice by the #1 hero and then being offered his legendary power, one for all, this can only mean one thing: protagonist privileges. Naturally, a loser like Deku is not going to let this chance slip away. To inherit the power, Deku has to swallow one of All Might's hairs. After that, All Might trains Deku for a whole year, since his power is way too strong for Deku's body to handle. The training also has to be balanced with schoolwork to help him pass the entrance exam to the Hero Academy. After months of suffering and silence, the sweet fruit finally arrives. Deku's body is strong enough. He receives All Might's power by eating his hair. Today is the first exam at UA and Deku runs into Bakugo, still cranky as ever. The one announcing the exam rules is a hero who basically looks like a walking loudspeaker. All candidates will enter a mock city and try to defeat robots to earn points, with different point values depending on the robot type. There's also one super mega ultra strong robot. But here's the catch, beating it gives 0 points. While everyone else is busy farming bots like they're grinding in an RPG, Deku is still trying to learn how to control his new power. Time's ticking down, the robots are almost wiped out, and all he can do is run like he's late for the last bus home. Suddenly the golden boss appears, the strongest robot, but completely pointless to defeat. Everyone sees it, yells, "Nope," and runs away. Deku also turns around, until he spots a girl trapped under debris. He clenches every muscle he's got, yes, including that one, launches himself into the air, his limbs glowing like Christmas lights, and throws a punch so powerful it hits 10.5 on the Richter scale, blasting the robot apart. Every student and teacher watching is left completely frozen. But Deku's body can't handle that much power. He free falls like a wet chalkboard eraser. Just when he's quietly reciting his farewell prayers, he suddenly slows down and lands safely. The girl from earlier, Uraraka, used her gravity control powers on him. Deku is later treated by a school hero with healing abilities. He goes home miserable because he thinks he scored 0 points in the exam. But to his surprise, a letter of acceptance arrives. All Might shows up in the video message, explaining that UA also grades on heroic style. The teachers all agreed that Deku's actions were flashy and heroic as heck. So he passed. Deku is placed in class 1A with other students who have all sorts of powers, but I'll introduce them later. Their homeroom teacher, who looks like he could be mistaken for a sleep-deprived zombie, starts their first lesson, a physical fitness test. There are 10 activities where students rack up points: sprinting, grip strength, long jump, sideways jump, ball throw. Students are allowed to use quirks freely. The lowest ranking student gets expelled. Deku still can't control his power until the ball throw. Right before he tosses the ball, he uses one for all in just one finger, letting him stay conscious afterward. But one cool moment isn't enough to save his awful scores. The zombie-looking teacher posts the rankings. Deku is dead last. But fortunately, this zombie teacher actually has a soft heart. He reveals that the expulsion thing was just a bluff. Day 2 of class begins, and today's instructor is All Might. Each student is issued a custom hero costume suited to their powers. They all look pretty legit. Deku, meanwhile, wears a suit his mom made for him, so he looks, well, a bit dopey. This lesson divides the class into 2 groups, villains and heroes. Villains hide a weapon inside a building. If the heroes touch it, they win. Each group has 2 people, and the teams are assigned randomly. Deku gets paired with the Gravity Girl. All Might chooses Bakugo's team to fight Deku's team. Deku's team plays the heroes. The villain team's strategy? The guy with the modified exhaust will watch out for the bomb, while Bakugo uses kung fu moves to punch Deku in the face. Deku holds off Bakugo while Uraraka goes to find the weapon. Bakugo is still salty about Deku having a quirk, because he's always believed his childhood friend was born an incompetent person. Ever since they were kids, Bakugo has been arrogantly proud of his talent and could never accept the idea of being on the same level as Deku. Let's switch the camera and zoom in on this champion, Bakugo, for a moment. Bakugo's power comes from his sweat glands, which let him create explosions that make zero logical sense. Meanwhile, Gravity Girl's quirk isn't doing much in this fight, while Motorbike Exhaust Pipe Man keeps running around the building carrying bombs like he's in a GTA mission. Downstairs, Bakugo shows off his strengths perfectly in a one-on-one duel. He gets so fired up that All Might has to warn him to chill. Team Deku definitely needs a plan, because just trading blows like this isn't getting them anywhere. Eventually, Deku decides to go all in with a punch, but instead of aiming at Bakugo, he punches the ceiling. He takes Bakugo's explosion straight to the face, yet the punch blasts open a massive skylight, sending chunks of debris down. Uraraka lightly taps a concrete pillar, making it float, and Rain throws it toward Iida like a meteor shower. She then uses the opening to leap past him and touch the rocket. Victory goes to Team Deku. Match 2. The hero team consists of Octopus Arms paired with Toothpaste Boy, the Fire Ice hybrid. The villain team is Tail Guy and the Invisible Girl. I'll take off my gloves and shoes so I can go fully invisible. Something about that sentence sounds wrong, doesn't it? On the other side, Yin Yang Boy is just as cool as his powers. He turns the entire building into a freezer, calmly walks in, and wins in seconds. He's one of the 4 students who got in on scholarship. Now a quick intro to some of the other students' powers, featuring discount toilet paper, the tough guy, Birdhead, girl pasting envelopes, Grapehead, Yasuo who sells pomelos, Type-C cable, Power Bank, Prince flexing, and Coconut Milk Girl. Class ends. Bakugo is still brooding over losing to Deku, who is currently in the hospital. In the afternoon, the two have a heart-to-heart moment at the school gate. Talent Boy growls with frustration. How could he possibly lose to a main character privileged kid who literally got hard buffed by fate? In the world of My Hero Academia, being a hero is the king of all careers. Reporters line up to interview heroes like their pop idols. Today, Class 1A votes for their class president. And who else deserves the role more than Motorbike Exhaust Iida, the king of every road in the city and leader of all speed limits? The school schedules a field trip for Class 1A to learn how to use their quirks for rescue missions. But an enemy force has infiltrated the facility. Of course, the villains. Their homeroom teacher steps in first. His quirk lets him erase someone else's quirk just by looking at them. But what about people with mutant-type bodies? Well, you fight them normally. Dr. Strange shows up, teleporting students left and right. Even so, the student side is still holding strong. Deku's group gets surrounded by villains near a boat. The bad guys try to sink them by switching boats to force Deku's team into the water. Deku flicks his fingers into the water, creating a whirlpool. Grapehead's sticky balls glue the enemies together. Frog Girl uses her tongue to drag the whole group away. This move costs Deku 2 fingers. Fire Ice Close-Up Boy is still as cool and handsome as ever. Let's go over the power trio real quick. Type-C cable can turn heartbeats into sound waves. The Distraction Girl can create anything that messes with people's focus. And Pikachu. And here, this guy is the one with real power. The man who's basically best friends with hands. He's been watching and studying the zombie teacher's quirk. He figured out that the teacher has a cooldown time between his attacks, and whenever he activates his ability, his hair stands up like he stuck a fork in a power outlet. Timing it perfectly, Handman uses his ability to disintegrate anything he touches. The teacher gets a little layer of dead skin casually exfoliated right off his elbow. His quirk also isn't meant for fighting big groups, so he quickly gets exhausted and ends up being slammed into the ground. Motorbike Exhaust Boy gets Gravity Girl's help to escape the building and call for backup. The villains are about to serve up crispy fried frog when suddenly All Might blasts in wearing a gold suit, shocking the entire neighborhood and saving the class just in time. But there's still one big problem left. Nomu, the brain-exposed monster. This thing fights on equal footing with All Might, and with Dr. Strange supporting it. All Might is struggling. Nomu keeps targeting Old Wound, making the fight harder. Deku and the top students return to push the battle back in the Academy's favor. All Might has only 1 minute left before he loses his muscle form. So he goes all in, aura, punching Nomu so hard it rockets into the sky like Rocket Team from Pokemon. The students are awestruck seeing the #1 hero fighting seriously, but that moment also reveals he's nearly out of mana. Handman, after thinking for a moment, charges forward. Deku realizes the teacher is about to get obliterated, so he rushes in, ready to risk his life. But right before he takes the death touch, an off-screen sniper shot rings out. It's the teachers and top heroes arriving to back up the students. Dr. Strange grabs Handman, and the villains retreat. The Academy has no casualties, but the damage is enormous. Nomu gets captured, but it seems like Bluetooth disconnected. The thing is suddenly obedient like a puppy. The villains promise to return, hinting that someone far above Handman is the true mastermind, and no. I don't mean the hand itself. And with that, the chaotic school days of Hero Academia Season 1 come to an end. I'm Annie retelling, thank you and see you next time.